Hello and welcome once again. This is our Beyond Business Live show in conjunction with the International Investors Forum happening on February the 23rd. We are bringing you amazing partners, business leaders, investors, and communities that are going to be at the event, and we are coming live to you. And with me, I have my business partner, Victoria Hasanova from Global Invest. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you, Azeeza. Thank you for your support. Thank you that we create this is a really unique forum. And we join together a lot of influential and very wise and very smart partners. And this is our honor, I think. And as you can see, we can attract a lot of partners today. And yes, and a lot of logos you can hear. And let's start discuss about very actual topic today. We can talk about Islamic finance, and we have a very experienced expert in this area. Yes, Azeeza?
Yes, and I know him for the longest time as one of the influencers who started the capital conversation among the Malay community in Singapore. So let's welcome Mr. Umar Munshi. Welcome. He's a trailblazer, an amazing human being, the managing partner of Ethis, as well as the founder and MD of Ethis and managing partner of Hasan VC, with more than, I think, almost 20 years experience in the impact investment space. So thank you so much, Brother Omar, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you so much.
Azeeza and Victoria. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Good to see you. How do you do?
Yes, very well, thank you. And it's wonderful to have a refreshing conversation with you on something very important because IIF we started and it's a huge alignment between Go Global, Shine Go Global, and Global Invest when we said we wanted to focus on conscious businesses, focused on businesses that impact and creates legacy for humanity. So it's not just any kind of investment, which is always money centric. So that's where Victoria and I got aligned. So with the conversation with you right now, we're going to go to a new space, or rather a space that is very aligned to the impact investing, which is Islamic financing. But before that, we'd love to ask you a very important question because you
Sure.
pioneered, as I said, this whole space on investment as early as the mid 2000s. So what inspired you to stay focused on ethical and impact investing in Southeast Asia?
All right. Well, the trigger actually was a little bit different, and it evolved or took it a life of its own from there. So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life from the age of 18 till today, which is 20 over years. And at some point, when I was doing my business in Indonesia, the business was doing very well. I was flying high. I was a young man who was making good money and so on. At one point, something bad happened to the business, right? And I lost a lot of money. It was totally unexpected. And so, I came back to Singapore from Indonesia. And, I was young and foolish. Today I'm old and foolish. Back then, I had a sports car in Singapore. Not really a good idea to own a sports car in Singapore. It's very expensive. And when business went down, right, cash flow dried up. I was in debt, and the bank actually repossessed my car. Right, the financial institution that I had loan with repossessed the car, and it was a very punitive or very tough experience, right? When you go on the wrong side of the banks, it's not fun, right? And it can really get you into a cycle of debt, and you'll be sort of enslaved to the bank for a long time. So that's what happened to me when I think I was 26 or 27 years old, and so I mean, I'm quite a calm guy. As entrepreneurs need to have the emotions in control, right? So I was fine in terms of my emotional health, but I was just wondering why is this like that, right? How come you're so nice to me when I have money, or when you think I have money, and when I don't, then you try and bring me down, right? So I was thinking that why is the financial system like that? So I started reading up and looking at what's wrong with the way finance is today, and I found a lot of material. Um, and I found I couldn't really find solutions. So the solutions were maybe quite vague, impact, ethical, but what does that mean? How do we implement it? It wasn't very clear until I found Islamic finance, right? And naturally, as a Muslim, I'm drawn to it because it's my faith. But beyond faith, or in addition to faith, it's also the principles of it that really resonated with me. And I realized that if humanity were to adopt some principles of Islamic finance would be much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the background story.
Thank you,
Great.
Mark. Thank you for your personal history. This is really important, I think, because today you're a third person who can share with us about fail, about not only very successful stories. Yes, this is really important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are talking about ethical Islamic finance. What's the difference between the traditional investment models and the Islamic model? Maybe why is it gaining traction right now?
Sure. So first of all, maybe I just want to highlight, right, because it's Islamic finance. There's a religion attached to that name, right? However, although it's called Islamic finance, it's not only for Muslims. It's for everyone. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with halal food. You love the halal chicken, you can eat the halal chicken, right? So you don't need to be Muslim to eat halal chicken. So it's the same thing as Islamic finance. It's meant for everyone. It's just that the principles of it are derived from the principles of Islam. Yeah. So at the fundamental level, it's about upholding justice and respect in all that you do, right? So that's the highest level. When you go down to actually the form of it and the substance of it, then it gets, I guess, more detailed. And maybe I can just highlight a few of the fundamental principles, right? Which is firstly about when it comes to investment, right? Specifically, uh, when you invest in something, you have to take a risk in that investment, right? That's a fundamental principle. So when we look at how typically lending is done today, which is considered a form of investment, then you have interest. Yeah. So in Islamic finance, that goes against one of the principles, right? Which is that interest in itself is not allowed because it creates injustice, right? So let's just have a scenario where I have capital, I have money, and you have a business, and you come to me and say I need some financing for my business. If I were to lend it to you and say I want 8% returns per annum, then I don't take any risk. All the risk is on you, right? If you do well, you give me the 8%, that's fine. But if you don't do well, you still need to give me the 8%. And that creates injustice between us, right? So in Islamic finance, the concept of interest is forbidden in today's modern context. And for those of you who are interested to know more about this, you can definitely do some research on your own, and you'll see that a lot of the big problems we face today globally, whether it's at the geopolitical country level or the individual debt problem that we have today, it goes back to interest, right?
Yeah.
And if interest were not allowed, and if we are really investing in each other and sharing profits and so on, then there'll be a much more participatory and much more sustainable economy. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there is a mentor of us, a late mentor, Buckminster Fuller. We learned about the art of value add. So any business is about value add. And in this accelerated business school, we actually learn about value add, and how anything that you're going to make money out from, let's say you're putting in $1,000, it is like, what does that $1,000 do for you to get you back $1,100, let's say.
Yeah.
So there must be a value add so that you deserve that money to come back to you. So this is a different way of looking at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So,
It's
so
I think very much aligned.
yeah, so it is exactly what the Accelerated Business School, like for example, if you're going to buy a house, remember in Singapore, there was a flipping game going on. You buy and then you hold and then you wait for it and then you sell it. And then Singapore banned it, right? We can't do this flipping business. But actually, that is also considered not value add, because at the end of the day, there's no real value increase in the business, the market, before you sell it off for whatever reason. So these kind of is actually something that's happening, and Islamic finance, the way that you are explaining to it, gives a real context to how the whole economy can be more what we call stay in equanimity, stay more just for everybody to work together. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that explanation. Victoria,
My
anything
pleasure.
you want to add on to
Yes,
that?
Mark, could you share with our investors what kind of benefits they can achieve? If they want to start with the Islamic finance with your company, and what kind of benefits and what kind of differences they can have?
Sure. So earlier on, I gave one example of one of the principles of Islamic finance, right? Another principle is in terms of the nature of the activity of the business that you're investing into, right? There's a kind of a screening there where certain categories or certain types of businesses or activities are not allowed, right? So this covers a few things. One is alcohol. Alcohol is not halal, and it is considered undesirable, and it does create a lot of social issues and so on. Gambling. There's also typically a prohibition in investing in the military related industries, right? And as I mentioned earlier, anything to do with interest. Yeah. So these are generally accepted, I believe, as undesirable for society or not good for society. And in today's modern context, more Sharia scholars and advisors are also adding in things that harm the environment and so on, right? So
And we can say this is a safe for your soul.
safe,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, very well said. Safe for the soul, safe for humans, safe for
Yeah.
humanity.
You know,
Um,
Global Invest platform, this is a not halal platform or
uh,
Islamic finance, but we do same.
It's the same, yeah. So that's why I said it's actually universal principles, right? These are principles of
Yes.
universal good that moral people should subscribe to as well, right? So I think for investors, that's the first benefit. It is embedded inside that you're not doing harm to other people. That's part of the DNA. Yeah, that's one. Maybe another benefit I can share is that you can actually get sort of better commercial outcomes as well. Right? Like in Indonesia, we have a platform that funds small businesses doing projects. We have funded about 1,000 projects, right, over the last few years. And sometimes the projects can give returns of, if you analyze it, 30%, 35%, which is not common and usually
Yes.
too good to be true. But the reason is because we do profit sharing on a 6 months project, right? But they complete it within 3 months, right? But we still get the same profit share, you know. So we get the profit share, which is large. It's supposed to be 15% per annum, but because they did it in half the time, the IRR goes up to 30 something percent, you know. So
Yes.
when the business does better than expected, the investor also gains. Yeah, but
Yes, of course.
correspondingly, if the business doesn't do as well as expected, the investor also takes a hit. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. And,
Very exciting.
yes, it is. I mean, like the conversations we have, especially with global community, it's important for us to get into a more neutral ground. And this remains neutral and more appealing to everybody. Like Shine Go Global, we also stay away from leather products. You know, in Malay we say cerewet. Sometimes we feel like, hey, why these people, because our shareholders are global. They are not any specific religion centric, but still we stick with this global understanding, which is in a way very appealing to all our partners and shareholders in this. Even like beef and pork are not in the conversation with our community as well. So great that, that's why we are all showing up together, right?
Yeah.
The Ethis,
Matching.
yes.
Perfect matching,
And that's why, sometimes people cannot believe, like, they say that how can anybody just do business like that? Is it possible? I had one of the embassy leader to ask me, because when I said our conscious tourism framework doesn't include alcohol in our hotel industry, and he was like, how do you do tourism without hotel without alcohol? I'm like, okay, we can. And I don't wish to mention which embassy, but this is a reality. People have a stereotyping that it has to be done certain way because a lot of people do it. But there is a growing group of us, I would say, that's coming together and making the noise or the voice louder so that we can be heard in a more serious way, that this is a fact and we want to stand for humanity, stand for the environment, stand for impact, to create more powerful businesses that do good and create legacy with that. So I'm so inspired every time I'm with all of you guys, speaking the same language. So I want to ask you, Brother Umar, what is the sectors that currently investing a lot of investors in Southeast Asia? Is there any specific sectors?
Yeah, I think definitely food, right? Halal food, food supply chain, food security. It's tricky when you, for example, when you want to invest in agriculture, it's generally quite tricky because
Mm.
there's various types of risks. But we see a lot of learnings over the past few years, new technologies, more direct sort of interventions and cooperation with people in rural areas and so on, right? So definitely that's very interesting. Like in Malaysia, we invested, our VC fund invested in a lady founder. She's a scientist, and she was looking at, she's a bioscience scientist, and she basically developed an enzyme that breaks down chicken feathers, right, on the farm itself, right? The chickens,
Yeah, yeah.
it's waste, right? You throw it away. And she developed an enzyme. You just add the enzyme, leave it overnight, and then it will break down the chicken feathers to become food for the animals.
Wow.
So this kind of very innovative ideas, natural innovative ideas that are based on some technological advancement. I think
Mm.
there's a lot of this kind of small pockets of innovation happening, and it's gaining a lot of momentum now. Right,
Mm.
space is more in the technology space, so yeah, most of the things that I see and exposed to is in technology. Of course, AI, digital platforms are really sprouting. So I see a very interesting shift where you don't need so much money anymore. You don't need to raise millions from VCs to be able to reach a certain point. You can just have a small team, be very smart in using tools, and start building a business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very
I'm
well.
happy to see entrepreneurship starting to thrive more in this part of the world, especially among young people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really important insights.
Absolutely. I think this is where the momentum of the youth life is becoming easier and more available. Whatever that was not available for the previous generation, I think the upcoming generations are having a lot of things available for them, and the support system is more concrete right now for them as well.
That's
So
right.
we want to say thank you for joining hands with us, with Hasan VC, as well as the Ethis group. You want to add something about Hasan VC, what you all do, and what was your reason to join hands with IIF and in partnering us? What do you see benefiting your community?
Yeah. So I think first of all, congratulations on having this platform, both Shine Go Global and Global Invest, right? Because it's the diversity and the the sort of variety of different backgrounds, people with different expertise, deep expertise, some of them. It's really very exciting, right? Because sometimes, like for us also, we end up working with the people that we already know, and we're so busy that there's no time to step outside of that box, right? So
Yes.
it's great to be able to meet so many different people from, as I mentioned, very different backgrounds and expertise, yet having a very strong alignment in terms of wanting to invest in things that are good and ethical, right? So that network, those relationships, that's, I think, the main attraction here for the event and for the community, right? And just a little bit about Hasan VC. We are HASAN.VC if you want to check it out. It's an early stage VC fund. We are usually the first investor in small early stage technology businesses, and we look for startups basically that have a strong mission. They have is that is trying to have a movement or a change to make the world a better place. And we exist online, right? We are a distributed entity. My team, we are from different parts of the world, and we've been operating for a year. And so far, we've invested in about 13 companies. So we look forward to discovering more entrepreneurs for us to support and invest into.
Nice. Thank you for that amazing work that you do. As I said, leading a movement. I mean, I feel that what you have been doing over the years have been a movement. You have been doing it quietly and building it in a resilient way. And so, congratulations on that. And we look forward to have more synergy in working together. And your support in IIF is very much appreciated as well.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Azeeza and Victoria.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you everyone for joining us. And this sums up tonight's session. And if you are watching the recording, we have a back-to-back 3 rounds of amazing speakers. We wanted them to have their exclusive 20 minutes that they have shared with you very heartfully. And also the fact that this event is all our speakers are actually partners and investors and communities, business owners who have access to our global network in the International Investors Forum happening on February the 23rd. So we have put in the chat group the link for you to join, and we can just scroll it here one more time so that you get to see it is at, then you can register and join us for the event. Victoria, anything else you want to say to round this off?
No, a lot of words we say today, and this is a big pleasure to create this event. Really, Aziz, this is a really important thing we create, I think.
Yes, and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Brother Munshi. Thank you, Victoria, and see you all in the next session. Bye for now.
Bye bye.